One is that my experience is that during a finance executive's career, he's asking himself the question pretty regularly about whether he really wants to go into general management or whether he wants to remain in financial management. And so at a certain point in time, the population is sort of slightly self-selected. And the second point I'd make is that my experience is that it is largely a question of luck as to whether you happen to be within a company where that opportunity arises, because it's very difficult to move from a finance director position in one company to a chief executive position in another company. So it tends to be, as you say, within your own organisation. But it's not all, it's a lot of luck in that.
I think I struggle with that a little bit, because at the end of the day, I do come back to my point before. If you are in the role of the finance director and you don't want to be the CEO, then what the bloody hell are you doing there? Because at the end of the day, but maybe there may be reasons why you might not want to go quite that far for different reasons, but at the end of the day, if it's about value, if you don't get excited by the process of creating value, then you shouldn't be on the board, because that really is what you're there for. Now, it may be a question as to whether you feel that you want to be part of that team or whether you actually want to step up. But at the end of the day, to me, the fundamental question is, are you somebody who ultimately is happy to be a voyeur on the business, or are you part of the team are you the leader of the business? Somebody made a comment just now about looking to the leaders of the business. Unless you see yourself as the leader of the business, or at least as part of the entity that's the leader of that business, then you shouldn't be there. If you are that, then it is a very, very small step from that to go and to want to be the CEO. So I would genuinely question the validity of someone on a senior team that didn't want to take on that extra responsibility.
Without letting the cat on the bag on personal ambition, what about Gail, Alan?
I think it's really what you can add to the role. So what extra can you deliver from an FD role to the CEO or the leader of the organisation? So I think personally you have to look at yourself, your skill set, and say, do I have what it takes to add the value that I need to the organisation to actually lead it? So I think really it's more what your personal skill set is, and I think a lot of it is ambition, because I look at some of the leaders and then that I've worked for, and there's some that are better than others, shall we say, and what actually drives them all is ambition. It's not necessarily the talent, it's do they really want it enough to be there, and I think that's the overriding issue.
I guess I could get myself in hot water here, but Rob has a very clear view of accountants, and that is they make absolutely hopeless CEOs of recruitment companies. So as far as he's concerned, I would never have the opportunity inside Rob Walters. I think in terms of skill sets, I think loads of the skill sets that a good CFO has. Coming back to ambition, I think a very good CFO should be capable of being an MD. I can't see why not. I think in terms of stepping across into another company, I think there's an opportunity to step down that may present itself. So you've got a reasonable chance of going from FTSE 100, FTSE 250 CFO into a smaller organisation as a CEO. I think that's a transition that would be more readily available, and that's potentially one that I might have in 5 years' time or whatever. But I think there's lots of unfinished business where I am at the moment.